Recording now. So thank you everyone for joining us today. This is Koç University's International Student Recruitment Directorate, who is reaching out to you, and we're very happy that you have decided to join us to learn more about our university and specifically about how to complete our undergraduate application form for the fall 2023 admissions period. I'm going to do a very brief introduction about the university, especially for those of you who are just starting your research process about our institution and want to know a little bit more. And then I will cover very briefly an overview of our application and admission requirements for our undergraduate programs for international students. I will talk about tuition and scholarships. However, we have a lot of very detailed information on our website, and we will be doing more thematic or topical webinars in the next couple of months on each of those topics. So to introduce myself, my name is Melissa Abache. I am the Director of International Student Recruitment team here at Koç University. I have been here for 8 years now. I was also once an international student coming from Venezuela. That's my country of origin. I had the chance to study in the UK, and then I moved to Turkey 11 years ago. So I have been in your shoes if you're considering to study in a country outside of the one you were educated or where you were born in. So we really understand all of the questions you may have, and sometimes fear, sometimes expectations, dreams that you may have. So again, it's a great journey that you're embarking on, and we hope that we will provide some useful information. On the screen, you can also see the rest of our team, who are always there to provide help in terms of information, answers to your queries, and if you run into any technical difficulties in the process of applying for admission to our university, they are there to help. So this is us. Right now, I want to take a very quick break and ask about you and who are you who are joining us. So I'm going to launch right now a very quick 3-question poll so that we can get to know where are you in the process of applying to Koç University. Also, what type of degree areas or subjects you're mostly interested in. And in the future, because we're going to be doing more webinars related to our undergraduate admissions, we would like to know what topics are you mostly interested in so that it can give us some helpful feedback on what should we be preparing for you guys, okay? So if you can start voting now, that would be great. I already see that some of you have started to vote. You should see the poll on your screen, and you touch on it if you're joining us from a mobile device, and you can answer the question. So we'll just take 1 more minute for everyone to reply, to vote. Okay, we're about 50% in of all the participants today. Almost there, 81%. All right, I want to get to 100%, so we will be nearly there very soon. Okay, so I think that's good enough. I'm going to end the poll, and I'll share the results with you. So I can see that most of you, 65% of you, have not started an application yet. That's actually great news. That means that you're joining us at the right time so that you prepare a really strong application for admission. Some of you have already started your application, and I think only one of you have already submitted, so that's all good. In terms of your program preferences, it's very evenly distributed between administrative sciences, medicine, or health sciences, engineering. There are some of you interested in basic sciences and also in humanities, so that's also good to know. And in terms of topics you would like to know more about, I can see that, let's see, so how to be considered for a scholarship and how and when to submit your test or diploma scores is one of the two top topics that you want to know more about. I will cover those today as well, and we may then do a more detailed session in the future. And then also there is a lot of interest in how to prepare the motivation letter and how to ask for reference letters. So thank you so much for participating in the poll. We're now going to move forward. Right, so if you're here, it's because I think you already have done a bit of research. You have narrowed down your list of universities that you want to apply to, and you may or may not be 100% clear on what you want to study. So this is just a quick summary of why international students who have come to Koç in the past have chosen to join us, right? One important aspect, a practical one, but important, is the fact that we offer all of our programs in English. So that means that even though you're going to be living in Turkey, where the language is Turkish, you do not need to learn Turkish to learn and earn a bachelor's degree. However, what we see that the top reason is why people want to come to us is the quality of education that we offer, and very specifically the quality of our faculty members, of our professors. Because, across all of our 7 colleges, these are internationally renowned professors, and that is measured in different ways, but typically you would see that they're top. The university, is the top recipient of awards, competitive research grants within Turkey and within the European Union and in other areas. They always get different awards for teaching excellence. And of course, because of the doors that they can open later on when you're thinking, 5 years down the line for graduate opportunities. We're also very proud of the fact that we're the only university in Turkey that has a medical school right alongside many other colleges of very high caliber. What that means is we're not a university that is known as being very good at X or Y. It's a very good university overall in any area that you look into. The performance in terms of research impact, publication volumes, graduation outcomes of our students, it's all very good. And part of the reason, in addition to having very good professors, is that we like to keep our classroom sizes small so that it is a very personalized, hands-on, boutique type experience for our students. Our current student-faculty ratio is 15:1, and of course, it goes a bit up when you're looking at the first-year courses that are mandatory for all students to take. It goes a lot down when you're looking at 3rd and 4th year courses, elective courses, where you may be picking a specific track or niche program. So yeah, it's going to be a very personal kind of learning experience. And of course, we are a research-intensive, interdisciplinary university. This word, you may see it often when you are looking at university websites or videos, and it does mean a lot. It's not an easy thing to do, to basically get people from different disciplines and subjects to collaborate, and to also collaborate in how courses are designed and taught. And this is one thing that Koç University really puts a lot of emphasis on. And finally, the fact that we are located in Istanbul, which is a beautiful city, and within Istanbul, we're in the northwest region of the city, very close to the Black Sea, and a very safe campus in terms of, and one entry, one exit. We have dormitories, a very lively campus life in terms of our student clubs, cultural activities, and yet being accessible by public transport to different kind of centers of entertainment, of business, of commerce in Istanbul. As you may or may not know, Istanbul is a very large city, very metropolitan, very diverse. It's nearly 15 million people. So our location means that you're in a very quiet, peaceful, clean air, very peaceful environment, but at the same time, you have access to all of the exciting things of this city. And finally, another big reason why our students choose to join our university is The fact that our alumni employment performance is very good. I mean, when we look at Turkish students, the statistics that we have cover mostly Turkish students, but 83% of them do receive a job offer before graduation or in the first 3 months after graduation. We're going to have more data about international students, I think, very soon. There's a survey done every 2 years. Now that we do have more international students, I think we will have enough data to share with you soon. So in terms of facts and figures, I don't want to dwell on this because nobody remembers this afterwards, but the kind of things that are very impressive to me, if I wasn't a person looking to study abroad, is if I'm into research, the fact that this university has over 200 research labs, 25 research centers, that's very important because it gives you an idea of the type of opportunities that you can have here. And also, as many of you said that you're interested in scholarship opportunities, please know that we're very proud of the fact that 70% of the international admitted students for the last cohort in fall 2022 received some type of merit scholarship support, whether that was partial or full, that covers tuition. I'm going to show you here very briefly the list of colleges that we have. So we have 7 colleges, and under each college, they offer undergraduate programs that are, as I said, in English with a duration of 4 years, with the exception of medicine, which is 6 years. And you do need to learn Turkish after you enter the program and learn Turkish very fast in order to start to join all of the clinical activities of the program. But all of the other programs are taught in English. One of the things that we think it's important for you to know is that the first year, not only at Koç, but at any university, it's really crucial to determine the rest of the other 3 years that you're going to be with us. So that first year is very important, and we have a whole set of people and teams and programs to make sure that that you're set up for the best outcome possible. So we pair you with an international student body before you arrive to help you with practical matters. We have a specific team, which is International Community Office, that helps with applying for a visa if you need one, applying for a student residence permit once you're in Turkey, helping with information and guidance about practical things like how to open a bank account, how to find accommodation if you're not staying in the dorms. So all of these things are very important to us to make sure that that transition from high school to university happens smoothly. And academically, we also have a very important, I think, crucial course called the Academic and Life Skills course. I'm going to show you at the end, we're going to be hosting a webinar with one of the program coordinators of that program later in April. So I invite you to join because that's a very useful kind of workshop that we're going to be doing online. And of course, Koç University offers a liberal arts education approach. So that means that we offer a core program that covers 7 knowledge areas. And regardless of the undergraduate program that you're accepted into, you will need to take some courses that are not exactly or directly related to your undergraduate major. And the idea is that you get exposure and awareness of areas outside of your major and become a well-rounded individual. I mentioned our campus life, and again, it's, in your first year, that's when you get the chance to really explore all the student clubs, sports teams, fitness group classes, cultural activities. You can also start to kind of meet with the team in the Career Development Center to make a roadmap of, where do you want to be when you graduate? So what are the things you need to do from year 1 to get there, right? In terms of internships, in terms of specific courses, in terms of building up your CV. So all of that happens in that first year. And of course, for those of you who want to learn Turkish to blend and integrate into this society in a better way, we do offer Turkish language courses as electives, so there's no extra cost to that, and other ways that you can learn Turkish in terms of conversation activities, social activities, and more. So now we're going to talk about an overview of the admissions process and approach at Koç University. So because we're one of the top ranked institutions in Turkey and in the region, and in some cases in the top 250 institutions for subjects like engineering, our professors want to make sure that all students that enter Turkey, that enter Koç University, are also outstanding. because we are also being chosen by the best students in Turkey through the National University Entrance Exam. So it is a selective admissions process in which we're looking for the best of the best. There's only one fall intake, which is in September. There's no spring intake for universities in Turkey. Our application period opens normally earlier than most universities in Turkey. So our applications opened on the 1st of January and will be closing on the 1st of July. That's our regular application deadline. We do have a late application deadline, which is on the 31st of August. And sometimes we have students who, for example, are doing the IB curriculum or the A levels, for example, the UK system, and they receive their final results in August. So that period, it's really designed for them in case they don't want to apply with predicted grades, but you're able to apply with predicted grades regardless. For medicine, we introduced a change from last year. So our applications for the School of Medicine this year will open on the 1st of May and close on the 31st of August. As you may guess, medicine is a very popular subject, and we do receive thousands of applications. But we have a small admissions committee from our School of Medicine deans and associate deans. So this is a better way for them to basically look at all of the applicants between that period rather than an extended period from January. There is an application fee that you pay online through a credit card before you're able to submit your application form. And I will show this on once we do the live demonstration. And anything that you cannot find an answer to today, it's on our website, which is international.ku.edu.tr. For example, for those of you who are wondering, how should I write my motivation letter? How do I ask for a reference letter? We have guides for that on our website in the How to Apply page. There are samples of motivation letters just to give you an idea of how to use that space, right? Like, what do you talk about? What you shouldn't be talking so much about, what things to pay attention to, besides, of course, grammar and having no typographical typos on the letter. And all of our applications are received in one place, which is our online application portal at apply.ku.edu.tr. And I will show you how it looks like and how you enter and how you start to create your application. So what happens after you submit your application? So, you know, you've watched this webinar, you went and prepared all of your documents, you got external kind of, help from friends, your high school counselor, your parents, and you're sure and you submit. After that, our registrar's office makes a first eligibility check to make sure that you comply with the national regulations to apply as an international student. That's a check in terms of your nationality, where you have completed your high school education, that all of your documents are complete, especially your high school transcripts, and that you meet our minimum scores in terms of the test or diploma scores. Those applicants who pass that first eligibility check are then sent to the admission committee for their evaluation. They usually take between 3 to 4 weeks, and then a final kind of approval is done by our vice president for academic affairs. After that, the students who are offered admission are sent an offer letter email that also includes the scholarship details. So you do not have to do any separate process or wait longer to know if you have been accepted, and if your acceptance also includes a tuition merit-based scholarship that could be, full or partial. So that's I think a very good aspect of our admission process in comparison to other universities where you may need to do separate application processes for admission and for financial aid or scholarship. After you have your offer letter, then you have to make the decision whether you're going to join us or not. And I hope, of course, that you join us. In that period in between, you may be hearing from us via email to invite you to visit our campus or to join webinars for offer holders, where you get to meet our current international students, you get to meet some of our faculty members. So it's a chance to really get to know the university even in more depth to make your decision. If you decide to join us, then you accept the offer on the online application system, you pay your first semester tuition fee, And then after that, you receive an official acceptance letter. With that acceptance letter, you are able to apply for a visa if you need one. If not, then that's okay. And to then complete the registration or enrollment process as a new student. That enrollment process, it's all done online. You do not need to come to Istanbul, to our university, to submit, paper documents. It's all done online. That has been, one silver lining from the COVID pandemic, that all of those processes switched to online, and it seems like they will continue to be that way. Of course, we will be sending a lot of detailed information on how to do that to people who have accepted their offer and paid their first semester tuition fee. If you do not pass, as the graph shows on the screen, if you do not pass that first eligibility check in terms of especially minimum test scores, then you will receive a rejection letter fairly quickly, okay? So please be aware of that. Now let's look at our application requirements. I'm going to move my screen here. Right, so this is very similar to what you would see from the admission requirements for most US kind of selective admissions university. We're very similar in that way. So as I mentioned, one of the things should be one of our eligible standardized university admission exams or diploma scores. Typically, what we mean here, the full list is on our website, but most of our applicants apply with either one, that you don't need to have all, like one of either an SAT test score or ACT test score or AP test scores. Or, for example, if they have graduated from the IB curriculum, then their IB predicted grades or their A-level predicted grades. But now we also have a slightly wider list of eligible country-based exams that now include Russia, Kazakhstan, India, Canada, and there's others. So make sure that you check our website to see if your national qualification for university admission is eligible. But the majority of our applicants are normally applying with an SAT or one of the other tests that I mentioned before. The other thing to include, of course, it's your high school transcripts for the last 3 years of education that show, your grades, your grade point average, and your specific grades in subjects. If you're applying, for example, to engineering, our admissions committee in the engineering college are going to pay particular attention to subjects like mathematics, physics, because it's part of the curriculum once you enter the university. Then the third item that you see on the list is, because our programs are taught in English, then we do need to make sure that you have a sufficient level of proficiency to cope with the reading, writing, and oral kind of assignments of each course. So we ask for an English proficiency exam. The eligible English exams are TOEFL, IBT, Pearson Test of Academic English, or CAE, Cambridge English Assessment Test. IELTS, unfortunately, is not a test that we can accept at Koç University. However, if you have already taken an IELTS test and you have a score above 6.5, you can include it in your application, but you will be offered a conditional admission, and then you need to bring one of the other 3 eligible tests before the end of the registration period. Koç University is no longer going to be offering the option to international students to take the university's own English proficiency exam because we've had a lot of issues in the past couple of years with the timing of the exam. So it doesn't happen exactly before the registration period. So it means that a lot of applicants need to travel twice to Istanbul before starting their courses just to take the exam. And it happens face-to-face on campus. So please note that this is not an option anymore, and it's also indicated on our website. A motivation letter is an important part of the application where you really have to shine and let the admissions committee know, who are you besides your test scores, grades, English results, right? That's where you can talk about the things that they cannot see from the documents you have included. Recommendation letters are also very important. There are some of the colleges that pay particular attention to that. And usually those recommendation letters are from teachers in your high school who have supervised your academic performance in a subject, or your high school counselor who is responsible for university admissions or placements. So that's typically what we see in terms of recommendation letters. They should not be from family members. They should not be from, for example, college or SAT or English preparation courses, because the motivation for those people to write a letter, it's different from those of a teacher. So if you don't have anyone to write a recommendation letter, that's okay, but please note that the admission committee members do pay attention to that. The video interview is something that as well, it can create some kind of anxiety or fear amongst applicants, and it shouldn't. It's not a live interview, so you are sent a link, you open that link and it opens the screen, and then you're shown 3 questions that you're going to answer one after the other, and you record your answers, and then that is watched by the admission committee members in the relevant college. The questions are not knowledge-based, so they're not going to be asking you about, for example, some basic maths or biology concepts if you're applying to engineering or to molecular biology and engineering. It's more about who you are as a person, your strengths, your weaknesses, who you are in a team. So there's different questions that you may be asked in the video, and the idea is that you answer honestly, and it's okay if you stutter, it's okay if you take a pause, it's okay if you don't have an answer right away. So please note that. And finally, any information, this is of course optional, but if you have any extracurricular activities, achievements, awards, courses that you have completed online, volunteering activities, work experience, anything that you think will help the admissions committee members understand who you are and how you would add value to our university community as a future student, it's always good to include them. If you have some type of evidence of that activity in the form of certificates, pictures, links to websites where your name is mentioned, make sure that you include that, okay? So we have kind of done an overview of our admission approach and application requirements. Now we're going to talk about an important topic, which is tuition fees and scholarships. Our tuition fees for the upcoming academic year of 2023-2024 are, so our tuition fees for all programs is $21,500. For medicine, it's, yes, so you can see here, I cannot see this. Okay, great. It's $29,500. So there has been an increase from the past year due to the inflation that Turkey has been experiencing. And this is, I think, across all universities in Turkey. What we like to remind applicants is that it is one of the highest tuitions in Turkey in terms of foundation universities. But when you add up the costs of living in comparison to more traditional destinations such as the UK, Canada, US, Australia, even Germany, of course, then studying in Turkey and in Istanbul becomes very affordable and a very good value for money, and especially with the quality of education you're going to receive in Koç University. Now, scholarships, right? So I talked about this, but I'm just going to go over some points again. So all applicants are evaluated for a scholarship automatically. So you do not need to do anything else in terms of forms or petitions or anything else. The scholarships are awarded on the basis of merit, your academic merit specifically. And there's no specific GPA or exam scores, right? So we cannot tell you, and nobody can tell you, please remember this, there's no educational agency or counselor or, friend, a student who is already studying here who can tell you, well, if you have an SAT of this, you may, or you will get, for example, a 50% scholarship or 25% scholarship. Nobody can say that. We explain that very clearly on our website because it's a holistic evaluation. That means that we may have candidates that have a lower SAT score, but something else in their application, whether that's their motivation letter, recommendation letters, extracurriculars, it's outstanding. That may, in the view of the admission committee of the college, merit a higher scholarship than someone that has a higher SAT or IB predicted grade or anything else. So please do keep that in mind. The scholarships cover only tuition, so they do not cover other costs such as dormitories, books, meals on campus, or anything else. And the good thing, though, is that they cover the 4-year of your studies at the university. So you do not need to reapply for the renewal of the scholarship every year. As long as you keep up your grade point average above the minimum for all students, which is fairly easy to do, then you can continue studying and with the scholarship that you were awarded at the beginning. One thing that cannot be done, though, is that, for example, if you were admitted with a 50% scholarship, you cannot later request the university to increase that scholarship to, for example, 75% or 100% based on neither merit. For example, even if you have a GPA of 4.0, you're a perfect student, or on financial need, that is not possible. So please keep that in mind, that if you receive an offer of admission, but your family are not sure that they can really afford the tuition with the scholarship or without a scholarship for 4 years, you should consider alternative options in terms of your admission offers, because there is no way of increasing a scholarship once you're a student. So we keep that in mind. And finally, we do not offer scholarships for our medicine program. There are other universities in Turkey that also offer medicine programs in English, and they do offer scholarships. So I invite you to please make sure that you check those so that you have a good strategy for your application to medicine programs. Okay, so finally, before we go to the how to apply part, which is the main point for today, so we will have about half an hour for that, I just want to highlight a couple of online events or webinars that we're going to be hosting in March and April. The first one is on the 10th of March, and it's about that transition from high school to college. It's going to be a very fun, interactive webinar with Ms. Pinaros Beck, which is an instructor and the program coordinator of our academic and life skills course. So you're going to get a kind of glimpse into what that course covers and to start helping you from now, whether you end up at Koç University or not, on how to make a successful transition from the high school mentality and skills and habits into one that is suitable for university life. So I really encourage you to sign up for that, because it's going to help you in all aspects of life, I think. And then for those of you who are interested in medicine, because we do get a lot of requests about this, we are organizing a webinar on the 28th of April about our medicine program at Koç University. What is it like? And we're going to be joined by a panel of our current international students so that they can share their impressions, their experience, what has been hard, what has been easy, what they found surprising. So everything, so it's you can ask all questions to them, and we will also have one of our faculty members to go more over the expectations from them towards new students. We will have new webinars coming up on our upcoming events page. So make sure that once you're in our international admissions website that you check that section, because we add new webinars. So we will also be doing some webinars related to our engineering programs and to our social sciences programs between now and July. Anytime between March and August, if you want to come and visit us in Istanbul, feel free to do that, but just let us know in advance, because what we try to do is that if you let us know with about a week in advance, we try to find one of our student ambassadors who can provide a campus tour, and we are there then to answer your questions, okay? So to do that, you just need to send us an email, and I will show our email address at the end of the presentation. So as long as you can send us an email, and you can come by yourself, you can come with family members if they want to see the campus, and we're always happy to welcome people on campus, especially after the pandemic when we didn't have the chance to see people face to face for a long time. So you can see the website there for our upcoming online events. Now, on a more serious and a bit in a sad note, of course, you may be aware that there were two very large earthquakes in Turkey and in Syria very recently. So the country is still kind of beginning to recover from that. All help, of course, is welcome, and we've received a lot of inquiries from exchange students, alumni, and applicants about how can they help. So just for your information, if you want to know, if you want to make a donation, or if you want to share this information with your networks, we have put here a list. Of course, there's more organizations, but these are some of the larger ones that are centralizing a lot of the donations from abroad to provide relief and supplies and equipment and basic needs to all of the people, the thousands and thousands of people who have been affected by the earthquake. So any awareness help that you can provide, of course, will always be welcome. Right, so I'm going to show you here our contact details so that you have them in mind. I will show this at the end as well. But what I would invite you is make sure that you check our YouTube channel. If you're interested in a specific program, like what is it like to study psychology at Koç University, or history, or computer engineering, we do have very good videos there narrated by our own professors, in which they give an overview of what the program is like, what students should expect. So I invite you to check our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to that as well. And very recently, I think it's been now 3 months, we launched our TikTok account, and that is, I think, useful for you as a future applicant because it gives you a real glimpse into what it's like to be a student here. It's curated, and the content is created by our own international students, and I think it's a very kind of raw, honest look at life as a student at Koç University. So I invite you to check that. It's KU International. Right, so now what we're going to do is that we're going to switch screens, and I'm going to go directly to our application portal so that I can show you how to prepare the undergraduate application. So as I mentioned, the first thing is that you're going to go to apply.ku.edu.tr. Once you're there, you're going to see a button here in the top right corner that says login or register. So I'm going to skip that part because it's fairly simple. You click on there, you add your email address, and then it's going to send you an email like the one I'm going to show you here, right? It's going to show you an email like this, where you just click to register. And after you do that, you're going to put your first name, surname. It confirms the email address that you registered with, and a phone number. After you do that, then you will receive a confirmation or a welcome message saying, okay, so we are now, you're now basically registered and you can start your application. One thing though that you should remember is make sure that you're going to register with an email address that you check regularly, that you have access to, because all the information about your application in terms of in what stage it is, those stages that I showed you earlier, you're going to see them here, right? And you're also going to receive email notifications. So if you are, if there's any missing documents, for example, the email is going to be sent to that email address. So make sure that you have access, and it's an email address that you're checking frequently. That's very important. Okay, so once you have registered, you're logged in, this is a screen that you would see. And then you can go here where it says on the left-hand side, my applications, right? So right now, of course, I don't have any applications, so we're going to get started. The first thing is to select what program you want to apply for admission. At Koç University, as an undergraduate international applicant, you can select up to 3 programs that you can apply for admission, and you can indicate the order of priority. So you can say my first priority is history, second priority is sociology, third priority is philosophy, for example. And you're going to be evaluated for each program separately by the college. So you will receive admission decisions for each program separately as well. So you may be, for example, accepted to one program, rejected for another, or accepted to the 3 programs that you chose, but the scholarship decisions may be different. You do not need to include 3 programs just for the sake of including 3 programs. If you're just sure that you want to study one thing, which is computer engineering, that's absolutely fine. But if you're open to the idea, for example, of considering another major that it's related, then you can include that as a second priority. The reason is, for example, if you do not get accepted into your top major of choice, for example, computer engineering, but you put as a second choice industrial engineering, once you're a Koç University student, you do have the option to apply for a double major. That is after you have completed 1 year, if your GPA is above a certain level, you apply to the college to say, I want to do a double major in computer engineering. And if it's accepted, then you start taking courses related to that major. It does extend the duration of studies by maybe 2 semesters, maybe 3 semesters. It depends on how you manage your course load after the first year. But it is a very good option because you can then graduate with 2 degrees, 2 diplomas, but paying the tuition of 1 degree. If not, then you also have the option to do minors or to do track programs. So this is all explained on our website as well, and I invite you to check that out. There are some limitations in terms of, for example, if you're accepted into any major that it's not engineering or medicine, you cannot do a double major in medicine or engineering. The other way around, it's possible. This may sound confusing right now, so I don't want to kind of mess up your head with this, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them or via email later, okay? So we're gonna start by searching what we want to study, right? So you can use here the search bar and just type the program you're interested in, or use the filters to find specific programs. So if we select, for example, undergraduate, and that you're looking, and you click on find, right? So then we're going to choose, for example, that you want to apply for archaeology. So we're going to put that as our first choice, and you're going to click apply now. Okay, once you do that, you will be able to then add the second and a third choice, but it starts in this way. Okay, I'm going to move my screen here so that you can hopefully see everything. And after you start the application, the first part is this profile section. With each section, you will see there's a lot of instructions and guidance here, so you shouldn't miss anything. I please beg you to read this carefully so that you don't make any mistakes and lose time when you don't need to. So every field that it has a red asterisk next to it means that it is mandatory. So you're not going to be able to submit your application until that field is filled out and correctly. If there's any errors in how you're filling out the field, is also going to give you a message saying there is a problem with the information you put here, okay? So when we look at this, it's going to, of course, your name, your surname, your passport number. So we're going to type a passport number, when it was issued, then when the expiry date is. This is fairly common for all application processes around the world, so you should be somewhat familiar to this. If you have Turkish citizenship, either by birth or that you have acquired as a second citizenship, you should include your TC kimlik or Turkish identification number here. So for example, if you do have one, you put the number here, right? Then there are some questions about your gender, nationality. Okay. And so as we go along, so there's questions about your citizenship. So if you have, as I said, for example, I marked here that I have citizenship from Turkey, and it asks you specifically, I have double citizenship, then it's going to ask you what is the other one, and again, what is your country of residence. This ID card number, what it refers to is your national identity card. Now, some countries have this, some countries don't. If your country does give you a national identity card, ID number, then you should enter that number here. If it doesn't, then you can put here, for example, your passport number. Again, that's okay. So we're going to put a number here. Your date of birth, okay? So we're going to go a bit further back in time. Okay, your country of birth, we're going to select from the drop-down list. And then it asks for your parents' information. I know this may sound a bit strange, but this is required by the Turkish Higher Education Council. And it's always asking every form that you fill out in Turkey. So you will become used to this once you're in Turkey. So we're going to put some test fields here. So family name, just for clarification, refers to surname. Of course, you should type always in the Roman alphabet to make sure that we're able to understand information. And marital status, if you have any disabilities, you can disclose them here, but it's up to you. Then we also ask for your father and mother's country of citizenship. This is because there's some specific eligibility rules around applicants who have Turkish citizenship by birth. This is because you then need to obtain something called a blue card or Mavi card. If this doesn't apply to you, don't worry, but still these are mandatory fields. So you just need to select from the drop-down list. Okay, so we're going to choose this. Okay. Also related to that specific eligibility criteria, it asks if you have completed your entire high school education outside of Turkey. If you have, then you click yes. If no, if you have studied your high school education in Turkey, you select the other option. And then it asks you to upload a photo. So we're going to upload a photo. This is, if you are accepted, please note that this is not the picture that they're going to be using for your student ID card, but try as possible, of course, to use I'm going to choose one from our team here. Okay, so try to use something that shows your face clearly and that it's professional looking, okay? All right, so let's see. I tried to upload a picture and let's see, it may be giving me, so this is a typical thing that you're going to be seeing. So what happens if I try to click submit right now? You're going to see a message at the top telling you that some fields are not correctly filled, and it's going to tell you where, not on the specific page, for example, but if there's other sections of the form that you have already completed and they still have missing information, it's going to also show you here which ones are they. For example, here it's saying the supplied value is not a valid Turkish national identification number. That's because of the number of characters that it's required. So I'll correct that. Okay, so now that should be okay. Right, okay. So I'm gonna click now. Okay, and it's asking me for a photo. So let's go back to the photos. Let's see. Oh, okay, sorry. I'm trying the wrong type of picture here. See this one. Okay, right. So you will see that your picture is uploaded. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click on, anytime you're on the application form, you can leave it and then come back to it and continue. You do not have to complete it in one go. So you can click here on save as a draft. And again, look, it's telling me there is an error somewhere, right? Let's see. Okay. Telling me about the national identity. Okay, let's try again. All right, let's try this. I think it's still going to give me an error here. Yeah, okay. So let's see. We'll move on. All right, so I will find the right number to put here later. As you can see, because I have an error on that section, it shows a red exclamation mark next to it. That's how you know, okay, there's something still that I need to work on here. Then we're going to move to the next section, which is your contact details. This is very important so that the university can reach you besides your email address, okay? So it's going to ask you for your study address. So we're going to put our university address here. There may be some strange things, like it's going to ask you twice for city or like a house number, apartment number. You can put the same number. This is due to our student information system integration, so that's why. So we're going to put Istanbul. If your region has the same number as your city, you can type it again, of course. If there is no state type denomination where you live, you can again put the city name. And then we select a country from here. Right, okay. Now, there is an optional question here that it's also new. This is new from last year. If you want one of your parents to also be informed when you're offered admission, you can type their email address here so that they will receive notifications once you're admitted, and once you're an offer holder, then they will also be invited to specific events for parents, and if they want to book a campus tour, they can do that as well. So it's completely up to you if you want to add that information, right? So we're going to save here, right? As you can see on this page, there were no kind of major issues. Let's see here. I'm going to put the phone number. For phone numbers, usually we use this protocol, which is you put the plus sign, then your country code, and then this should be your home number. And it doesn't need to be, of course, from Turkey. It's from where you're living. So, okay. All right. So we're going to click on save now. And we're going to move to the next section. Now, I mentioned that you're able to choose up to 3 undergraduate programs. So if you don't want to, you just leave it as that. But if you do, then you can add your second and third choice here. So it's going to bring you back to the place where you find the programs, right? So let's go to this. So let's say that my second priority is business administration. So I'm going to add it there, right? What happens? You do not need to fill out all of the fields again for each program because they are already saved here. So now you just go directly to your priorities and you should be able to see your 2 programs that you selected. If you want to change the order of priority, you can use this up and down arrows to move them around, but make sure that you have made your decision about what is your first priority. Now, the next section is your educational history section. And as I said, there's a lot of notes here to clarify any kind of questions you may have. Typically, of course, applicants would have completed or will be completing high school level education when they apply to us. We do have applicants who have already completed an undergraduate degree and they're looking to do a second undergraduate degree. In that case, you can include that. But of course, 99% of our applicants are at high school level education. So here you're going to choose high school. You're going to write the official name of your school or institution. Please write the name as it is written on your high school transcripts. If they are in a language other than English or Turkish, you should use the English name of the school as it's translated from your transcripts, okay? So I'm going to write here, example, okay? And you can let us know if you are currently still studying or you have completed or graduated from high school. So for example, I'm going to choose here that it's ongoing and that I started in 2020 or let's say 2019, September. Okay, and your expected date of graduation. So typically, for example, for this year, you may be graduating in June or July of this year, so you can select the date. We also ask for questions about whether you were studying on a full-time, part-time, or distance learning basis, so you can select the right choice for you and in which country is in your high school located, okay? And the city. Now, the last 2 questions are regarding your grade point average. So you do not need to convert here your GPA to a 4.0 scale, which is the one we use at university. So for example, if your high school system is on the basis of 100, then you can indicate that. If it's on the basis of 20 or 5 or whichever the scale is, you can indicate it here. So for example, I'm going to say it's 17 out of 20, okay? Because later, I will show you where, then you're going to upload your high school transcripts as PDF documents. The other question here is, what is the duration in years of this level of education in your country? So again, what is the number of years for high school education in your country? In some is 4 years, in some it's 3 years, in some it's 2 years. So let's say that in yours is 3 years, so you're going to write that here. And what is the school type that you're attending, if it's a state or public university, if it's private or if it's another, okay? So let's say that it's private. And then we're going to click again on save. So there were no kind of missing or wrong fields here, and I can move on. If you have attended more than one high school, so for example, like right now you're in one school, but you completed your year 11 and year 10 in a different school, you click where it says insert new block, and it's going to open the same box that you see here, and then you complete the same details for that period of education in a different school. Then we move on to the score section. This is very important, okay? Because this it needs to match the documents that you're going to be uploading later. So here is where you're going to be providing information about which of the eligible university admission test scores or diplomas you have. So for example, let's say that you have taken the SAT test. You're going to click on add a score, and we're going to search here. I have to admit the search box is not exactly user-friendly or as user-friendly as it could be. So for example, if you type SAT, right, it may not show you immediately what you're looking for. So you do have to scroll down until you find it, right? For the ease of today, I'm just going to choose ACT, okay? And please note that for exams like SAT and ACT, there's the components that you need to add. So not only the total score, but the scores in each section that you have obtained, all right? So for example, for ACT, let's say that you had 30 points and the date in which you took the test, okay? So let's choose a date. Of course, the date needs to match the PDF document of your score report that you're going to be uploading. If you have more than one test that you would like to submit to the admission committee for evaluation, you can do that. For example, if you have taken the ACT, but you're also in doing A-levels, then you're going to find from here, for example, A-level maths or A-level chemistry, and then add your predicted grade note. Okay, so you can add your predicted grades here, and in the date, what you can indicate is the date when you're going to be obtaining your results. Okay, the same thing with IB. In the case of other national exams, for example, if you're coming from Russia or from Kazakhstan and your exams are going to be in July, then and you don't have any scores yet, that's okay. You can then leave this empty. One thing to clarify, because we get this question very often, is should I include everything that I have or just something? Our advice as a team that provides information and guidance is choose carefully what's gonna show you in the best light to the admission committee, which is made of professors. So if there is a big difference between your SAT score and your predicted grades, or and your high school transcripts and your GPA, I wouldn't include something that shows a very big difference, right? So that's our kind of rule of thumb advice to this question. Okay, so after you have completed this section, you can move to the next one, which is the English proficiency. And I explained already what are our eligible test scores. Here, though, it's not going to ask you exactly about that. It's just going to say, whether you are, in case you are applying from a native English speaking country, meaning that your nationality, it's one of the ones that are listed here, right? It means that you can be exempted from the English proficiency test requirement. If not, so if your country is not in this list, so as you can see, it's not a full country, it's a limited number of countries, which is the one defined by the Higher Education Council of Turkey, then you can do that. If not, then you click on insert a new language, and you're going to select here, for example, English. Okay, and you're going to choose which exam you are going to provide. Let's say that it's TOEFL. You can write your total score. Let's say it's 104. And if you have any other languages that you want to disclose to the admissions committee, let's say that you speak French as your mother tongue, or Arabic, or Spanish, or any other language, you can insert it here. If you don't have proof in terms of a test, that's okay. You can leave it blank because it's not a mandatory field. So we're going to click on save, as we've learned now. And we're going to go to the next section, which is about extracurricular activities. So I cannot emphasize enough how important this is. Besides your test scores and your high school grades, anything that can show the admissions committee that you're an outstanding candidate and a well-rounded person that has a variety of interests, or that you're very focused on something specific and somehow related to what you want to study, make sure that you include the information here. So what we're going to do is you're going to click on Insert New Block. That's going to open up a window, and then you can write the type of activity. So for example, let's say you were the president of the MUN club, and it's going to ask you which, in what time period, right? So you can say, well, that was between 2022 to current, okay? And you can say, well, it wasn't at my school, so, right. So here, there's no limit. You can include as many activities as you want. So for example, if you want to say that you did a course, online course on Python, right? You're learning programming language, and you completed that. So again, you select when you completed that and when did it finish. And for example, you obtained this from edX or that type of organization, you can include it here. If you have done volunteering, the same thing. If you have worked, you put the name of the organization that you worked in, and so on. Okay, so if there's any additional comments about those activities that you want to highlight, for example, if there's an activity that you did, but you cannot provide kind of evidence for, you can put the details in that section. Then we're going to click on Save Draft, as we did before. The next sections are fairly quick, so I'm going to move through them quickly. We started asking from this year onwards about your dormitory preference in case you are offered admission, to have an early kind of indication of the number of admitted students who are going to be applying for dormitories and what is going to be their preferred room type, so that we can plan ahead with our dormitory management to make sure that we have enough places for all new international students. So here you simply put your preference. And we have put a link here so you can see our university dormitory page, and you can see the room types, you can see the prices. The prices that you will see on that website are for the current academic year, not for the upcoming academic year when you would start. So keep that in mind, that they will be updating the annual dormitory fees. Typically this happens around July. So you can get an idea. The prices are shown in Turkish lira, and then you can change it into your currency to have an idea of costs. Okay, so and one on a personal note, I would say like a shared room in the first year of university is always a good thing, because it means that you may make some very good friends who are going to be a support system for you in that year of transition. Okay, and you may be paired with other international students or with Turkish students. And of course, there's more information about our dorms on our website. And we're starting to also do more videos about this. Right, so we're gonna click on Save, and we're gonna move to the reference section. So as I said, we ask for at least 2 references. If you want to include more than 2, you're welcome to. And what you do is that, and there's a lot of notes here that you will read once you're starting your application. What we need is your referee's full name. Okay, so for example, put this name and their email. Okay. Now, preferably, the email addresses should be their institutional email address. So if it's a teacher at your school, it should be their school's email address. But if that's not possible, then they can put their personal email address that they use. What's important is that you remind them to complete their reference letter before, as soon as possible, and certainly before the end of the application period. So once you click on this red button, ask for a reference, right? You can see that now it says, it gives you the status. It tells you, okay, so it's been sent, the invitation has been delivered, but the person has not inserted the reference yet. Once they do, you will also see here that it changes and it says reference inserted. So it's done. Of course, you cannot see the reference yourself. The admissions committee can see it. And we're going to put a second email address. So here I'm just going to put our own team email address. and we're going to click on ask a reference. If for some reason one of your referees says, I'm sorry, I cannot do it, I don't have time, I forgot about it, and you want to ask an alternative referee that has offered to provide a reference, you can simply click here where it says untick to remove, and that will delete it, and you can add a new person. You can also, for example, if you made a mistake in typing the email address, and that's why they have not received it, you can click on the little pencil icon to edit the name and the email addresses, okay? Now we go to the motivation section letter. So as you can see, you cannot upload a Word or PDF document. You have to type here your motivation letter, and we ask for at least 1,500 characters and a maximum of 4,000 characters. Our advice, of course, is you can prepare, let me go to my folder. You can prepare your motivation letter as a Word document and have it ready. And then you simply copy and paste. We do have, as I said, on our website, a lot of guidance on how to prepare your motivation letter so that to make sure that you make the best case for you. Okay, I'm just going to simply copy and paste here. Okay, all right. So after that, and you're going to be asked to provide motivation letters for each of the programs you're applying for, because as I said, especially if they're in different colleges, you're applying, for example, for archaeology and social sciences and computer engineering. So they're going to be read by different people. So you make sure also that you tailor your motivation letters to the program that you're applying to and explain the specific reasons that you want to study that program. Okay, so what I just did, which is just copy paste the same thing, do not do that. This is just for the sake of time. Right, so we're gonna now go towards the end of the application process. So here, what I explained about scholarships is also written here and explained here, right? And we just ask you to make sure that you have read and understood the conditions of our scholarship and click on yes. In case you have also applied to the Turkish scholarships or Türkiye Bursları program, which is a very large, very popular program for international students who want to study in Turkey, make sure that you let us know, because we do need to share information with the organization called YTB about the list of students that have applied to us and have also applied to them. So if you have, then you can write the application ID number that you see on their portal here. If not, then do not fill this out. And this is also important. If you have applied or will be applying to any other national or international scholarship programs to help fund your university's studies, you can write the name here. So, for example, if there is a specific scholarship from, let's say, the Ministry of Education of your country or a foundation or anything else, let us know here, because in case you require a specific letter or a specific kind of confirmation from the university that you have been offered admission, it's good for us to know in advance and provide support in that way. Okay, this doesn't affect admission chances or the scholarship decisions, because this part is not seen by the admissions committee. This is more for our registrar's office to know if they need to start preparing some extra documents for specific admitted candidates. So keep that in mind. So we're going to save this and we're going to move to the visa section. This is also something new from this year, again, to help save time for our international community office and applicants. So if you do need a visa, a student visa to enter Turkey, then our international community office provides a specific support letter to the Turkish embassy or consulate in the country that you're living in. That's why we ask. There is information on whether you need one or not by clicking here where it says entry to Turkey. That has a lot of information, so you can check that out. So if you do need a visa, for example, let's say you're so if you can enter as a tourist with an e-visa or just your passport, you can click on yes. If you then, of course, do not need a consulate visa, you click no. And if you do need one, then you choose here from the list of Turkish embassies and consulates around the world, right? And we're going to click on save. Right, so here, the next section is called checklist, and this is going to give you information about what you need to do now in terms of uploading documents and other tasks. As you can see here, right, anything that has a kind of forbidden red circle sign means that if you do not complete it, you will not be able to submit the application. If it's a yellow triangle of like a warning, it's telling you, okay, this is still pending, but you can submit your application without it. So some of them are more about your preferences for your international student body program language, who we're going to pair you with in case you get offered admission. So if you would prefer a Turkish speaking or an English speaking international student body, same thing for our academic and life skills program. However, as you can see, the red ones are key ones. So here's where we go first, for example, and upload our transcripts. So what we do is we click on the little cloud and we select, go to my folder. We're going to select our transcripts. These are just some sample transcripts. When you are uploading the documents, you will see immediately that it's there, right? Let's say that you made a mistake and you uploaded the wrong thing. Then you click on this tool and you're able to remove that and upload a new document. You cannot do that for all sections once you have submitted your application. So once you have uploaded your transcript, you select the right situation that applies to you. In this case, I have uploaded them. So it says, okay, it was saved, there's no problem, and we can close this window. And you can see now that the status symbol has changed to a tick, so it's done, so it's resolved. Then we're gonna upload our English proficiency test, and you see here there's it's a lot of text, but it kind of tells you, if you do not need an English language test because your country of citizenship is from one of the countries listed here. Or, for example, I have it and here it is and I'm uploading it, or I don't have it yet, but I will provide one before the end of the application period. So if you have registered to take the TOEFL, for example, in, I don't know, like end of June, right? And you're applying around then and you're going to receive your results in the first week of July, that is okay, as long as, you let us know. And once you have your English proficiency test score, you can come back to this and upload it. So here, what we're going to do is, let's say that I do have an English test and we're going to, let's see, upload it here. I'm going to put something else just for the sake of this, and I'm going to select the right option. So I'm going to click on, I have an eligible test score report. So that is done. I close my window and so on and so forth. So for activities, as you can see, you can include all of your certificates, pictures. If it's a Word document where you have a list of links of news related to you, newspaper clippings, online news kind of about the activity that you did, you can include that here. Then we include your passport, okay? So, for example, if I just click on I have uploaded my passport, it's going to give me this warning message in red saying you need to upload it. Okay, so let's do that now and select that I have uploaded it. Here, for example, in references, even though you wrote the referee names and their email addresses on the reference section of the form, here you do need to basically confirm that you have asked for references. So here we would put, I have asked for references, okay? So that allows you to then continue with the application submission. And finally, this is where you upload your eligible test score, whether that's SAT or your predicted grade notes or your IB diploma or IB predicted notes or whatever is it that you have, you can upload it here. So let's choose, for example, SAT. Okay. And choose the option that says I have an entry qualification. If you have, for example, if you should upload here your predicted grade letter from your school. So you don't need to wait until you have your final grades in August. So those of you who are under the A-level system or IB curriculum system. If you click on I don't have an eligible entry qualification, right? You do need to upload something, some document that explains, maybe it's a Word document that you type explaining why, and why, and if you would be able to upload something in the future before the end of the application period, okay? Right, so let's have a look at our status of all documents. Right, so now the last thing is to complete the video interview. When what will happen is that you will receive an email inviting you. Let me go here so I can show you. Okay, so as soon as I selected a program that I want to be admitted to, then it triggers an email to your inbox, to the email address that you registered with. And it's going to look like this. So it says, undergraduate international applicant video interview. There is a link. And then once you click on that link, it's going to take you to a page. And then you're going to be shown there will be instructions. You can test your camera. You can test your microphone before you start. And then you start to answer the first question. After you have answered your first question, then it's going to show you the second one, you record your answer, then it's going to show you the third one, you record your answer. At the end, you're able to see that it was successfully submitted. If during that process, any technical issues happen, like your internet went down, electricity went out and you were cut off, email us so that we can resend you an invitation. However, if the reason you have not completed the video interview is because you forgot to check your email and you missed the deadline, usually you have about 15 days after you receive this email to complete the video interview. Or I don't know, if it's something like force majeure, of course we can resend you the video interview. So please make sure that when you decide to do the video interview, you're in a quiet environment, that you're not going to have any disruptions, that you will have a good internet connection, and that you feel kind of calm and prepared to answer questions, okay? Right, here's the invitation as well, so you can see that. Now, going back, let's say here that you have completed your interview, right? So you can choose that option so that it shows as that you have. If you really haven't had, of course, our registrar's office checks, and if it's missing, they're going to let you know that you still need to complete the video interview. Now, the next section, it's simply a summary where you can see all of the documents that you have uploaded in your application. Normally, of course, there would be more documents than this, especially if you're including information about your extracurricular activities. And then finally, there's just some extra questions regarding if there's any medical condition that it's not a disability that you think the university should know about, especially with regards to specific needs for dormitory placements, or anything else you want to disclose, you're free to do that, but it's not mandatory. And we ask, how did you hear about our university? Of course, for us as a team that provides information and guidance, it's very important to know so that we can continue to put information about the university in the right places. So here you can say, for example, you heard from a friend and you were also searching online and you found us. That's what you can choose, right? If you have, for example, if you're applying for computer engineering and you have like a GitHub portfolio, or you have a LinkedIn page, or you have a portfolio of your work that you want to show to the admissions committee, you can put the link here, but again, it's not mandatory. Right, so we're gonna click on save. Now it seems as if, except for our Turkish ID number, everything should be fine. So let's try. I'm gonna click on submit and see what happens. Right, so as you can see here, it tells me what I haven't done yet is to pay the application fee, which I mentioned. It's charged in Turkish lira and it's approximately $20. I'm not gonna do that part, right? But basically what you do is that you're gonna see here on the finances section on the left-hand menu bar, you will see that you have a pro forma invoice that once you click on it, it's going to show you, it's 360 Turkish lira for the fall 2023 admission period. And once you click here on click to pay online, it's going to take you to another screen in which you enter a credit card, name, surname, number, expiry date, the usual kind of method for paying things online. The card should be authorized to make payments abroad, so internationally, and on the internet. These are some of the common reasons why applicants may face some issues in terms of completing the application fee part. So once you have done that, then it will show as having been paid, right? And when you go to your application, right, then you will be able to submit. So that is the end of the process. What happens after, right? Then, as I said, here you will be able to see the status, right, of your application, and it will say things like, it's being evaluated. If there's missing documents, it will say that there's missing documents, and that, we will be sending you emails to let you know that you still need to upload some certain documents, or that some documents are not clear or incomplete or out of date. So all of that is going to be sent to that email address that you registered with. Okay, so with that, we finished the part where we have explained how to apply. Now I would like to go to the question and answer session, and I see that there's already some questions, so I'm going to open that. So thank you so much for staying until now. I know it's been a long hour and almost hour and a half. So I'm going to go through the questions now. For this part, I'm not going to record, so we're going to end the recording for today. But please stay on so that you can hear the answer to the questions. For those of you who join us, thank you very much. Let me click here.